This isn't therapy. It's a reckoning. For the men who've been lied to about love, and the women who sold safety instead of truth. We say the things you're not supposed to say out loud. I'm Author. This is Cuff. Every week, we go deeper. Somewhere along the way, you became the calm one. The one who reads the room before you enter it. The one who takes the edge off, so nobody else has to. You thought that was love. It was labor. 2 musings this week. One about the house that trained you to carry other people's weather. One about the person you'd carry anything for. And the moment you realize you can't. This is the space between the architecture of self and the architecture of intimacy. This is what it costs to put things down. 2 musings, 20 minutes. Let's get into it. First musing is 1:15. My mother couldn't regulate herself, so I learned to. This is a very important topic for me because, as I have discussed in previous podcasts and musings, I have struggled with conflict avoidance. And I know I have. And I know it needed to be addressed and worked on, lessened, and hopefully eventually fixed. I feel confident in saying that I think I have lessened it dramatically. Still some work to go, but the only way that I can continue the work and ultimately, hopefully, heal this is going to the source. And when I think back on growing up, there's something that really starts to jump out at me. And it's interesting because when I originally started thinking about all this, I wrongly assumed that a lot of this had to do with my father, but I've come to the conclusion that he played more of her enforcer role. She was really the one driving things behind the scenes and in front of them. And so one thing when I really think about avoidance and the emotions that it brings up in me, and really, that's what's happening is I'm trying to not deal with the emotions or the uncontained emotions. And when I started to think about it in that regard, things started to become clearer. The thing that just jumped out and floored me was when I realized that the reason I avoided confrontation, and I would do anything to avoid confrontation, is because I was raised in a house where the weather inside that house was driven by one person, and it was her. If she was having a great day, the house was having a great day. If she was upset at whatever, you were walking on eggshells. You were hypervigilant. If you wanted to ask for something, you were looking for an opening, or you were trying to do things to create that opening. And it's crazy now that I really think about just how that's so unhealthy. So unhealthy. Even thinking about this and talking about this now, the other unhealthy part of this that I'm just really putting together as we work through this together, she was very quid pro quo. If I wanted to have a sleepover at one of my friends' houses or go somewhere or whatever it might be, it was always what I could do for her in order to get what I wanted. That's a terrible, terrible lesson to teach your children. There was never any, sure, you can go, you've had an excellent quarter at school, you deserve it. There was none of that. There was only expectations in where you benchmarked against those expectations. And when I really start to think about all of this, it really makes me sad. Because I know what I need now, and I was given the complete opposite of that. Complete opposite. And it breaks my heart because I know my parents love me, in the case of my mother. I know that at the end of the day, they tried their best. And when I think back on my childhood, I don't have negative, horrible memories of that. And I think that's what's so confusing, is by most standards, I had a wonderful upbringing in childhood. And I think that's really just, when you look at it externally, like in a third person sense. Because internally, even though I had this great life by most standards, the emotional damage that was being done and that I would have to carry forward was real, but it was unseen. Being a parent makes this even more difficult. Because on one hand, I almost feel judgmental, and I want to say, how could they have not known better, etc. But that doesn't get us anywhere. It's human nature. We want to point a finger. But that's not the right way to go about it. And the way I have chosen is, I knew when my kids were first born, so we're talking about 15 years ago, 16 years ago, that I wanted my kids to have a different upbringing. But I couldn't put my finger on what was driving them, mainly what emotions I was experiencing that I didn't want my children to endure. And I'm proud to say that I have tried very, very hard to not raise my children in a lot of the ways I was raised. And looking at my kids, and I can look at them critically. And if they sucked, I would tell you. But they've turned out pretty amazing. Okay, that's musing 115. Start off deep. Well, musing 116. Link in the show notes. Go down, read it. Same with 115. 116's not any lighter because this has been a difficult time for me, as my oldest is now driving and looking at colleges, doing adult things. And I'm extraordinarily proud of the young woman she is growing into. And I'm very happy to see her becoming more independent, more resourceful, etc. But it's hard. I knew it was going to be hard when you're as close as I am with my children. I knew it was going to be hard. And it's hard in the sense that I didn't originally anticipate. As a parent, I think, and especially as a father to your girls, I don't know that there's ever going to be another man as protective. I don't even know to put all the feelings that you have, that men have about their daughters. It's just different. I imagine that a mother's relationship with her sons is similar to that. And yes, if I want to think about it, are there safety concerns and basic concerns like that? Yes, absolutely. But that applies to my son as well. I think it's different degrees, but it's all there. None the same. But it's no matter how much you teach them, how well you guide them, they're never going to be fully ready for the world. And that's scary because often say this part in life as a parent, you actually have more of a choice in the matter. You are a large part of their world. So you can run interference, you can intercept. But I'm on the precipice of losing that. And again, I'm not worried about, or concerned about losing control. That's not it at all. I trust her and all of my kids tremendously. And I tell them all the time that they make decision making easy for me because they've never really given me a reason to not allow them to do things that they want to do. They've been honest and trustworthy, responsible, They've done all of those things, punctual. They've done all of those things. And as I tell them, their reward should be they are allowed to do those things. And so they do get to do that. There is no set curfews and none of that stuff. There's no reason for it. They've never given me a reason. And so yes, up until this point, I have been able to run interference and all of those things. But sending them out into the world is a different fear. Again, it's not fear of failing or anything like that. It's just you can't prepare them for everything they're going to experience. And I keep falling back on who they are as people. And that I haven't shielded them or softened things that happen. For example, my uncle died of a heroin overdose. I didn't shield it from them. I felt at the time they were mature enough to handle it. And so I wanted to make sure they knew the consequences of drug abuse can be. And we had a pretty lengthy discussion about it, that drugs like that, you're pretty much ending up in one of three places: the jail, an institution, or you're dying. And so we've had these conversations, these real world conversations. And so they know those things are out there. They haven't been shielded from that. And I do find that to be a bit of solace. But it's still hard to see your child go barreling out into the world and not be able to fully protect them. And the thing with my children are, they're very close in age. And so once the one goes off, college, work, all that good stuff, the other two are right behind them. They're going to go and boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's like I hate to throw out the old adage, but where the hell does time go? Really, yeah, it's crazy. And, I was careful in the musing to point out that this isn't just about parenthood. This is about in relationships where you care about someone, but you can't run interference on their life because sometimes they just need to figure their way out. They need to get into it, get muddy, and deal with things, because that's the only way they're going to continue to grow. And that's really the hardest form of love, is knowing that you love someone, you care about them, and you want the best for them. And that they're still walking into a situation where you can't protect them. Like I said, I think that's a form of love that is, It's difficult. It's very, very difficult, but you can really see how much someone loves you, almost by the degree of restraint they have in allowing you your space to flourish and figure things out. Anyways, that's the episode for this week. Big news, Grind has been released. Go to the Kindle store, grab it, and if you like it, please leave a review. That's how other people are going to find it and hopefully get some help from it. Have a great week. Hold the standard. Stay close.